stand up in a way that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, you got about 5 minutes.
I'm gonna eat this chicken.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You're watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. And I have to say, this is hilarious. I'm watching the live stream on it, and the first thing that it said under the subtitles is, I'm going to eat chicken. Thanks to Drew.
Hey, you all.
How's it going, Drew?
I'm fine. I'm eating chicken. Leave me alone. Go. Next guest.
Chaz chicken.
Velvet Joker, how's it going, bud?
What up, boys? Nice to see everyone tonight.
Yeah.
You're right on time.
Totally.
Kind of.
So Drew, if you're done munching, do you want to introduce our awesome guest?
Yes, I do. Well, honestly, since our subject today is we're going to be discussing John Constantine, we're going to be talking about the Dangerous Habits Hellblazer story arc. We're going to be talking about the 2005 Constantine, which was partially inspired by that story arc. We're going to be talking also about the WB animated Constantine, City of Demons. I thought, who better than probably one of the best, and I hate saying it like this, but it's very true, one of the best John Constantine cosplayers I've ever met. That would be this guy. Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
Yeah, everybody. This is Kevin Borchardt. He's John Constantine, kids. I don't know how much more to tell you.
So,
welcome, Kevin. Great to have you on the show.
Welcome.
What up, Kev?
How you doing?
Good, man. Nice to see you.
Been a while.
Absolutely.
Well, don't worry. Splash Pages, you there's no smoking or non-smoking, so smoke away, Johnny. So
bag it up.
Indeed. So, well, everybody.
Yep.
Drago says, don't come between a guy and his fried chicken.
I mean,
Indeed.
Yeah. So just real quick, we have a ton of people watching. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We're going to be talking about all things Constantine. And for those of you just joining in, you said we're going to be talking about Dangerous Habits. We're also going to be talking about the 2005 movie. Also, Kevin, your awesome work cosplaying as Constantine, and we were talking about it earlier. You just emit the character. It's just awesome. Did I cover that right?
Sure. Bloody
Yeah.
brilliance.
So Drew, we're doing things a little looser today. Where should we start off?
Well, I think the important thing is that we go over some of the current events before we really dive into the magic.
Yeah.
So I will say this. I think everybody present, watching, all of us here at Splash Pages, including Johnny Boy up top, I think we should all have a moment of silence, a memoriam for two people who passed, who are important. One has been her passing. I very rarely have seen. I think everybody, the world, was impacted by this passing, and that would be Betty White, the last Golden Girl. When
they say they took her too soon at 99, that says a lot.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, it's very sad, but at the same time, 99 is a hell of a time to go out. So I think everybody, we should all just have a moment of silence, and definitely as we do that, the Golden Girls theme song should be playing in our heads. So everybody. Well, thank you for being a friend to us all, Betty.
Yeah. Well done, Drew. And you mentioned we lost another shocking one this
Indeed. So that person would be John Madden as well. Everyone, that play-by-play is getting really good up there. I'm going to say that for all John Madden fans.
Well, the other one is more comic book related.
No, I know. I'm just addressing that. So the other one is more comic book related. And that's also something that our guest had experience with this person. That would be a Mr. Robert Bruce, who is we know, I guess, a collector extraordinaire who is seen very commonly on Comic Book Men. And funny enough, our guest actually, I believe he said, had a few collectibles from Robert Bruce. So Kevin, take that story.
I mean, I think I met him a few years ago, the first time at Eternal Con when it was in Long Island. And once I got past my initial, oh my God, someone who's on TV. But he's really was accessible, and he had really cool collectibles at really great prices. And as a kaiju collection that put mine to shame, and I was always envious, but I definitely picked up a few Booster Gold toys from him and a lot of, I don't know what that said. I'll read that fast.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm just reading stuff. But yeah, no, I bought a couple Booster Gold collectibles and Justice League International collectibles from him. And no, he's a really cool guy. And if you ever met him, I would say he was the best accidental Quinn cosplayer from Jaws in history.
They got those eyes there.
I'm surprised he never showed me his scars, so. But yeah, he was also I think he was a big behind the scenes of the New Jersey horror cons too. So
I think he ran the New Jersey Horror Con. I
didn't know that until one time I was there, and someone was like going to him. I was like, oh, this is his con.
Yeah, we interviewed him. I think probably about 5 years back. And I was trying to find the interview. We interviewed him and his son. His son was, I think, trying to do indie filmmaking at the time. I'm going to try to see if I can dig up that interview. I got it on a backup somewhere. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree. He was a wicked nice guy. And I'm sure, if you've gone to a con, you definitely ran into him at one point because his booth was, just amazing. Just so much awesomeness.
So random. It's
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely. I bumped him at Terrificon a couple times, and I'd be like Toyman, and he'd be like Joker. And we had a couple conversations, and always super nice, super accessible. And I think I was selling a couple of collectibles, and I had reached out on him on Messenger. And within a day or two, he was like, "Yeah, Rich, this is what this is worth. Blah 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 blah. Good luck." So super nice guy, super knowledgeable from what I understand, and definitely a loss to the comic and collecting world.
Totally.
Indeed.
And this was totally sudden because it was was it from the cold? I know he wasn't living out of the box. It was just he was working or something, right?
Yeah, the one article out of New Jersey did say that he might have been possibly living there, so maybe he was estranged from his wife, but I haven't seen anything as far as that goes. So
Yeah, the first time I even heard of that story was from Bob Camp, so I don't know how true it is. So there were people commenting that it wasn't. He was just getting stuff for a show, but
Yeah,
he had just posted days before that. So
yeah.
Yeah, in one article I read saying that he was a workaholic, so it was he was probably just sleeping in his office, or something like that. But yeah, it's certainly a shame.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I just also want to say that they did confirm that Betty White's passing was due to natural causes. Of course, some people had tried to make her death somewhat of a political issue by saying that it was due to getting a booster shot. And honestly, I was just, I have to be speaking from the heart. I was very annoyed by that. I was like, guys, can we just please just admire this woman and mourn her passing and not politicize it or make it some sort of
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I heard it was very beautiful. They said that her last words were actually speaking of her late husband, Alan, who died 40 years ago. So she never remarried.
Although she did have a notable crush on Robert Redford, which from what I've read was reciprocated, and he did try to reach out and make that happen, but she kept ghosting him. So I was like, man, ghosted by Betty White. What an honor.
I thought you were going to say it was Ryan Reynolds.
Well, that was always the joke was that. But I mean, it's also so sad. I mean, just 3 weeks she would have hit 100, and they were planning this huge big event. I'm sure they're still going to do something in memorial to her.
People magazine actually shipped her 100th birthday out to stores. So I mean, it was that close.
So that means
it's their fault. They jinxed it.
You know what this means? Scalpers are going to be.
Yeah,
I got that 100th issue.
Collectible.
Exactly, $50, and it's like, no, my dude, like, nah, I'm good. I don't even do scalping for Comic-Con.
Fuck scalpers.
Right. So, wanted to address that because that is a big deal. Other things in news that I just want to briefly bring up. It is confirmed The Matrix Resurrections has been declared a box office bomb. Barely made back most of its 190 million in theaters. Most people are blaming an overhyped marketing, polarizing reviews, and just the fact that it came out following Spider-Man No Way Home, which, as we know,
which is like number 12 movie in history now.
Yes, which is the juggernaut of the thing. And unfortunately, I got to say this. I mean, I feel if more people were going to be getting Omicron, it was going to be due to Spider-Man than Neo. So,
did all of us see the new Matrix?
No.
I watched half of it on Christmas, but we started at like midnight.
Honestly, after the second one, I just kind of called it a day. I would want to check it out, but it's like I still haven't brought myself to watch the third Matrix after how great the second one was.
Yeah. It was desperately trying to, in my opinion, it was definitely trying to poke fun of itself. It's didn't really seem like a serious movie. Like every other scene was just trying to make some sort of social commentary about reboots and relaunches of series and stuff. It's just it was ridiculous.
I think they made a joke about excuse me, pardon me. Now I'm totally blanking out in my brain. Warner Brothers was going to do it anyway.
Yep.
And thanks, babe.
Thank you, Miss Harley.
Brain fart. So yeah, they were going to do it one way or another, so they might as well get a payday.
Yeah.
So that I'm trying to think of anything else big in the comic world is happening. Books are being published and things are being made, and somehow we're still buying it. I do want to say there's one thing before we get really into it. If anyone else has something to contribute, I think that we really need to cut back on supporting so many Batman books, because we don't need 8-7 Batman titles right now. I mean, that's a lot, man. And don't get me wrong, I love Batman, but by God, 8 different titles, like
8.
I think it's like 8 or 7 or 6. All I know, it's far too many.
Yeah,
like
I think
2.
It's been that way forever, Drew.
It has, but lately, I just feel like they're really pumping that. They're just really pumping their big sellers, and it's just like, what about the underdogs? What about the little guys? That could really.
Well, I agree with that. Definitely tone it down, but I think they need to do quality over quantity, because
get some titles chances too, though.
Yeah. Well, what are you reading recently, Kevin?
I'm not really reading much. Oh no. I am reading Blue and Gold. No shock. I am reading Justice League just because of the backup story is Justice League Dark. Mm-hmm. Shock. I am reading X-Men, despite the fact that I bitch about it on a regular basis. And I think that's really it. I'm just picking up trades, and I was excited about the new the Justice Society Infinite or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was picking up Justice League on the one Odyssey. Was it Odyssey? No, crap. The one that's a continuation, Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, it's in Justice League, isn't it? I know what you're talking about.
You recommended it to me, so I don't know. I was checking it out, so.
Well, the only reason I recommended it to him is, one, J.M. DeMatteis, who is also the writer, everybody, for the Constantine City of Demons movie that we're going to review, is writing the book. He does a fantastic job. And the reason I recommended it to Kevin is because he's a huge Booster Gold fan. Huge. Second to none. And there's a moment where Booster Gold is running away with a tray of Rice Krispies. And I said to myself, wow, Kevin would totally do that. And just mid-battle, just claim a plate of
absolutely.
It was
the first time.
It was so random that I was like, yes, perfect.
Now, Drew, I've been so inundated this week with Constantine in preparation of this, and so I had to ask Kevin, what was it about Constantine? Was it like the first time you read it? Was there a particular comic? What touched you about that character?
No, I've always been interested in stuff like the dark side of the reality and the occult and people who kind of flip the bird at the superhero. I mean, come on, I grew up with the 90s and the 90s trench coat anti-hero, so it should come as no surprise that the ultimate 90s trench coat anti-hero is John Constantine. I didn't pick him up until years later, though. It wasn't even I was aware of him on my periphery, and I think I picked up a couple trades here and there just randomly. And I think really it was after reading Preacher that I was like, what else has Garth Ennis done? And especially Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. So that run that those two did on Constantine, on Hellblazer, was absolutely amazing. So
nice. And how long till you actually got the tattoos?
I got just one because I do have other tattoos that kind of get in the way. But I think it was 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
So a couple years into cosplaying Constantine.
Sure.
But yeah, the first time I put it on, so easy, so comfortable. Just Just be a bastard. It's delightful.
It is. It's also really nice, as Rich as you know, to do a cosplay that you can basically blend in the public, and you don't have people looking at you in funny ways or asking to take your photo. It's like it's just a blonde boy in a trench coat. Like nobody's gonna care.
Well,
Like-
I mean, on that like same type of thing of like I was for a couple years back. I was walking through Terrytown around Halloween, dressed in my Constantine gear, and I was just looking like a normal bloke, and then just someone across the street just yells Constantine at me. I was like,
that guy, my hometown. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Shut up, demon.
yeah. As I'm about to go into like some thrift shop, I'm like, my people, they know what's up.
The relics know. So, and it's actually funny because just like you, Kevin, I was always aware of the character, and then I feel like for me, the introduction to Constantine was actually the Keanu Reeves movie, because I was like, wow, this is fucking dope. And I know it's like, oh, it wasn't really Constantine. I was like, okay, whatever. You know, it's still pretty good. And then you read some of the stories, and especially the Vertigo stuff. I mean, not taking away anything that there have been some good Hellblazer stories from DC.
But the Vertigo stuff is so much. Yeah,
it's on another level, especially because not only is John Constantine not a superhero, you know, he's literally the last person you want to save the world. He makes mistakes, he curses, he drinks, he does an insane amount of drugs. He is a walking fucking nightmare, but he gets the job
done. He will
done.
sacrifice a lot of people to get the job done.
Absolutely. And I think the thing about John is he's not perfect, and that's what makes him so realistic. Also, he's one of the few characters, and I don't know if you guys realize this, he was one of the few characters who also naturally aged. Like near the end of Hellblazer, it was like we celebrated his 60th birthday, of course, before they de-aged him when they switched over to DC. So I think by now, one of the only characters who is still naturally aging properly is Judge Dredd. So old man.
Well, Batman they aged as well.
Oh, well.
A little
Then
bit.
they forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. So is there anything else current events that you guys wanted to discuss before
Just
we go back?
just for comics real quick, everybody's been a buzz about the latest DC vampires. Apparently, like
Is it good?
I read the last issue and it's seems okay. It's but apparently like Hal Jordan is like evil in it. A lot of people are like
Okay. It never happened. That's never happened before.
Yeah, Hal Jordan, an evil scumbag.
and
Alex! sorry. Well, something caught my throat.
Yeah.
and spoiler, he hypnotizes Wonder Woman and turns her over. So it's just
Turns her over. What
well,
do you mean?
turns her into a vampire.
Oh,
So,
all right.
yeah. So and
Yeah.
it's
I was like,
it's an
is DC
interesting
dark?
book.
I mean, other than Green Arrow staking the crap out of vampires with arrows, I mean, there's no other draw for that guy.
Yeah, it would be Oliver Queen being the Van Helsing of the group, bitter, telling everyone I told you so, and still wearing that fucking hat. Ain't that right, Kevin?
Yep, that's right.
Mhm.
Sorry, the cats. All my familiars are yelling at me.
So Leo, do you have a little Sophia episode?
I do. So this was published Dangerous Habits, Hellblazer, published May through October of 1991. And I have a little video where we're going to take a little trip back into 1991, and we'll be right back. So we're going to do this right. We're going to get the time circuits going and travel back to 1991.
Captain, time travel circuit set for 1991.
So speaking of 1991, gas costs us a whopping $1.14 a gallon. Also that year, Kentucky Fried Chicken officially renamed themselves to KFC, and a little thing known as the World Wide Web was launched. I actually remember somebody saying, oh, it's just going to be a fad. Yeah, so movie tickets cost us a whopping $4.21. We spent that to go see Terminator 2, Star Trek 6, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Go Turtle, go Turtle, go! Okay, so if you stayed home, you were probably watching Cheers like me, Murphy Brown, and Dinosaurs. And we all got up early on Saturday to watch Saturday morning cartoons. And we watched Muppet Babies, Back to the Future, and Bill and Ted. And yes, those were actually cartoons. Also earlier, like Happy Days and stuff. There's been a lot of crazy cartoons, so we got to do a show on it. Anyway, finally, for us comic dorks, it was the beginning of the end. The market was flooded with X-Men reboots. So X-Men 1 through 5, it was the top-selling comic. But honestly, you know, how many of us have 20 copies of each issue on our closet just collecting dust? Okay, so also that year, Infinity Gauntlet was going on. That's 1991.
I still have 20 copies of X-Men #1, so yes.
Leo, that was too real. Because I also have all the interlocking issues signed by Chris Claremont.
Oh my god. All the covers, and I absorbed someone else's collection. Of course, I had multiples, and I was like, God damn, I can't get rid of these damn things.
And it's funny, it's funny, a side note, that issue, I think issue 1 holds a Guinness World Record for most copies sold, if I'm correct. Like, so
well, yeah, because you had all the interlocking issues, and then you had like the special that had like all of them in like a poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fold out one, and
well, in Jim Lee we trust. So that's basically what it really came down to. I mean, come on, if Jim Lee can make 11 issues of All-Star Batman and Robin when no one else really wanted it, anything's possible. But thank you, Leo. Every time I'm like, wow, I really wish we could go to the movies back in 1991, because $4 a ticket sounds great.
Oh yeah, and gas too. I mean, holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Buck and chains, not too bad.
All right. So, Dangerous Habits. But first, before we start, Kevin, would you like to give a little introduction or a little bio about your favorite cosplayer? Maybe say some things, or should we just jump right into that hell pool?
Jump right into the hell pool.
Okay, we're gonna jump into the hell pool, kids.
Nice.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so dangerous habits. So this
light
is
the candles, boys and girls.
Dangerous habits.
Yeah, too many kittens around here. Can't do that.
So Dangerous Habits is a story arc written by writer Garth Ennis, and I believe it's illustrated by Will Simpson.
Yes.
Yes, published 1991. Hellblazer issues 42 to 46. And yes, everybody, 46 is important because it is the epilogue of the series. So if you want a true Constantine ending, read that issue. So this is one of the most famous, in my opinion, one of the most famous and crucial Constantine stories, simply because John Constantine is dying. And he's not dying because he's been cursed. He's not dying because he's got, I don't know, some hell illness. He has lung cancer from smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And this entire story is him basically trying to come to terms with that death, trying to find a way to cheat the death, and in the end, trying not to pay as big of a price as someone like him would, as Kevin puts it, since he's regularly flipping off the damned.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying to Kevin before we started, I've been meaning to read this story for ages, so this gave me a good excuse. And honestly, this was fantastic. But
Garth Ennis' first constant Hellblazer story. Like,
wow,
that's how he started Hellblazer. He kicked open doors like, I'm killing Constantine.
Wow, that's it. I did not know that. That is awesome. So,
this volume has the story preceding, and then with his introduction, and just made this new fancier edition, where Garth's introduction is like, yeah, so they gave me a shot of the comic, and decided to kill Constantine. Screw it,
nailed it. So,
because beforehand it was all like very meta, and Great, it's great writing, but Garth.
No, I did not know who this character was in the story. They don't explain her. I guess you have to be more of a Constantine fan.
Kit? Oh, that's well, they explained earlier because when Constantine is, we're going to go into details. Constantine's looking to see if he could cure cancer, so he visits one of his old friends, and that is his old friend's ex. But his old friend also bites it, so which is a very, very important moment in the Dangerous Habits.
So essentially, and Rich, I can answer that. So that character, I believe her name is Elaine. No, that's not Kit. Kit shows up at the end. I think this is Elaine. She's the succubus from hell.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Succubus from hell. Okay, I thought she was some kind of demon, but I just wasn't sure what form.
Sorry, I'm looking this on a phone, so
it's all good. No worries. But so, yeah, I mean, come on, that's not a human face right there. That smile is way too sinister for me. I mean, that's a meme-worthy face right there, kid.
My bad. But but she's one of the succubi that Constantine is on good terms with, but she's still a fucking demon,
being a cunt. So honestly, I'm just gonna say this was fantastic. But one of my favorite moments was when he visited his friend in Ireland, and he goes to drink and he finds out the guy essentially made like magic beer out of what appears to be almost like a Lazarus pit like pool of holy water that he turned into like the best beer in the world. I was like, I'm done. This is fantastic. It's in the bottom of a lighthouse.
Not just that, he sold his soul to be able to make the best alcohol.
Yeah, like what a cheap, dumb way, but still some of us have been like, right on. That's cool. You know,
that's a guy who should have probably gone to an AA meeting. But
drank himself to death.
Like literally.
Honestly, that was pretty spectacular. And I was just thinking like, oh, thank God it's not PBR. But for me,
come on.
Yeah, but for me, the fact that he tricked originally the character who I thought was Death, and then I realized it's actually a demon or might be the demon. That how he gets the one up on him. He tricks him into drinking the beer. He smashes him in the face with a bottle, leaving him to essentially like dissolve because he's basically swallowed the unholy equivalent of battery acid.
Well, it looks like he falls into the water as well.
Yeah. So
the holy water.
Absolutely. So the point being is that all of this is just to buy his friend some time, because his deal is very time specific. To me, that is literally one of the ballsiest things I've ever seen John Constantine do. I mean, and it just proves again in my mind how that his main tool is not the fact that he can do magic, is that he is a cunning, manipulative fuck. And it's fantastic. Like, again, he's the guy you don't want to root for, but by God, in the end, you're cheering for him.
I mean, it's literally the devil, though, he screwed over.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
pretty great. So that was, I have to say, that was one of my favorites. Yep. So that's my 2 cents. I will recommend this to any fan. If someone loved Sandman or like Hellboy or whatnot, I would say this is right up their alley. So I don't know, Kevin or Leo or Rich, if you want to take it from there, but
yeah, I think I'm going to jump in for a second. This is really interesting when you're faced with the subject of death, and the way Garth Ennis wrote this. There's anger and acceptance and denial, and then of course there's the John Constantine
and bargaining. Because he definitely goes around. He tries to call in every single favor he can. He's going to demons. He's going to angels. He's going to other magicians, and when you're John Constantine, you know the people you know, and they even reference Swamp Thing in it, and I guess Swamp Thing, he even says like Swamp Thing's pissed off at him still, so good luck with that.
Yep.
So I mean, he goes at all corners and just, and you're a man like Constantine. But yeah, unlike a lot of other issues of Hellblazer too, it's not like he's not trying to be a detective. He's literally just dealing with his own mortality, which I kind of want to say is why he's like not in a tie. He's in a sweater the whole series because he's off duty. He's just trying to deal with his what he has in front of him.
Mm-hmm. So, Rich, what were you? Did you? Was there more to your point about him doing?
No, I just thought the subject of death and way Garth approached it, and just the breakdown. I mean, it's definitely worth a read, and it's quite introspective if you read it slowly. And there were a couple pages I had to like read again and again, and I was like, "Whoa, I can't believe that's the way he's going at this." I mean, really complex.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's notable too. He's also like he befriends a guy in a cancer ward when he's kind of considering his options, and it kind of sees that some people like John never really accepts his fate, but he does show a guy who has accepted that he's dying of cancer. Like that's all there's to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So while Constantine Borchardt has all the other stages, the stage of acceptance is shown through this cancer patient that he encounters and befriends until, cancer gets that guy finally.
Yeah, but Leo, what did you think, Leo?
No, I totally agree. I absolutely loved it. It was, and I think I was talking previously before we connected, Drew, where I picked up the graphic novel, and I didn't realize the story we were supposed to read was like midway through. So I read like the first 10 books prior to it, and it's like
so you read the other one, the more collected volume 5 versus the original one they released years and years ago, which is just Dangerous Habits.
Yeah, it's and there were some weird stories in there, but the kid that's being abused by his dad, that's the butcher. That was extremely fucked up. But
or Constantine meeting his not his evil twin, his good twin, because Constantine's actually the evil twin that John murdered in the womb.
Yeah, and then that weird thing where he like goes into the future and grows old and then comes back. Yeah, it's definitely some weird stories in there, but this was a breath of fresh air. Absolutely was phenomenal. My favorite part was definitely the relationship, as he's going into the cancer ward and trying to see where he's going to end up, and just befriending that old man, and realizing at the very end that he forgot to say goodbye to him and race to him, and it's just definitely, pulled at the heart, but it's just a very realistic story, and it's just intermixed with all these demons and everything.
And I think another thing is really important to note that Garth Ennis really does enjoy incorporating war and war stories into a lot of his work. I've definitely noticed this, that I've seen this in a lot of his stuff. He's very much a person who he likes incorporating veterans and their stories of war and whatnot, because I feel like he sees it as a very accurate depiction of the best and the worst of humanity. And it's funny because I've seen war stories and veterans and characters in this, like for his friend Matt. I've seen this in his story in his collaboration with John McCrea on The Demon. Same with his collaboration with McCrea on Hitman. The Boys, you see, veterans, Preacher, and then I feel like he's even done comics where he's talked about war itself. It's definitely a constant thing, and even when he was writing Punisher for Marvel, same thing. Frank Castle is a veteran from Vietnam, so you definitely have that appreciation, but it doesn't feel forced. It's not just for sympathy. It's just the reality, but I will also say, what a fucking way to end this story, right? That is John Constantine in the way. He beats death. He literally fucks over the devil, and he still has enough gall to give it a middle finger.
Yep. I mean, he'll regret it, but yeah,
Yeah, you don't give a royal fuck you to the devil and not have to pay the piper when it comes.
But yeah, I mean, but Garth setting it up like the image of Constantine that everyone knows, like that. Just the line, "I'm the one who steps from the shadows, all trench coat and cigarette, arrogance, ready to deal with the madness." Like that is what everyone's view of Constantine became after Ennis had his way with him.
Mm-hmm. It's true. So, so Kevin, so were there? I mean, I'm sure the whole thing is your favorite part. But was there anything that we haven't brought up that was a favorite moment of yours that you wanted to highlight
In that series?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is like the very fact that he tricks three of the highest level demons around, the devil and like two others, and just plays them off of each other, like the ultimate swindle. Which, I mean, just playing kind of like his arrogance playing the most arrogant against themselves. Like, who's more arrogant than the devil himself? Really? Like, he who's never been tricked, the ultimate trickster who's never been tricked before. Others think they're clever, and then John's like, I got you. I got your number, bro.
And it's so funny because later on he realizes how dangerous that was and how what could have happened and how his arrogance not only almost doomed humanity, but it almost doomed all of creation. I mean, if those three entities had gone to war, hell would have fallen apart. Then he would have got heaven involved, and then that's going to catch the earth in the middle. So all of this over one soul.
Just himself, because he doesn't want to go to hell. He wants to go on. He wants to go on his own terms.
Exactly. So
and there are repercussions down the line if you end up reading further, pick up the other issues after that, and like the whole run. Because I mean, he pissed off the devil. Come on, the devil's not going to let that lie.
So
there's always a price.
And that is, I think, one of my favorite things that I've seen, no matter what, whether it's DC, Marvel, Dark Horse and everything. There's this universal understanding that magic is not a free lunch. There's always a price you pay, whether you're Doctor Strange, whether you're Rasputin, whether you're Dr. Fate, you pay a price for whatever you do. And the bigger the spell, the bigger the price. And I think it's just definitely, you see that John, again, he doesn't, I guess he's still magic. He just clearly will use it. But John is just as dangerous without his magic than he is with it. So he's a threat no matter what because of everything. And, that to me is again, more reason why he's lived so long is John Constantine is a human being. He's kind of the Batman of supernatural. You do not want to rely on him. A lot of times you don't like him, but he gets results. And eventually he will die, and people will spit on his funeral. But the world will still keep spinning. I don't know. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to?
I just have to say, the demons here, I found it hilarious where they were changing shape. You have Elvis there, and then I had to look and figure out, when did this come out? Because that looked like Will Smith doing the Aladdin, but it's obviously came out way before.
Right, the Arabian Nights. Yeah. I saw one of the shapeshifter. Yeah, one of the three. Just couldn't decide. I also think it was just such fucking parody that the devil showed up as Jesus. Like, wow, what a fuck you to a dying man, So it and I think again this is also a perfect segue that having read this, I now realize that a lot of it, or not a lot of it, but like I would say 40% of it, you will find in the 2005 Constantine movie.
Oh yeah.
So, what a perfect way to segue.
Oh, totally.
Nonchalance.
So obviously we've all seen the 2005 movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So why did it fail?
different. It's just too different, I guess.
Yeah, I have a theory about that. One, I feel that the market wasn't as superhero conscious as our modern day markets are. I mean, by then you'd only had one Hellboy, right? That was like 2003. You know, you'd had 2 Blade movies, so you know, vampires are still cool, but you know, Twilight hasn't killed it yet. Um, you had the success of the Spider-Man and the X-Men movies, but then you had every studio buying up properties and trying to see which ones worked, and a lot of them didn't work because you know you can't just rush greatness. Constantine, the reason being is that one, they were going to name it Hellblazer, but they were like, no, that's too close to Hellboy. No. So they named it Constantine. But the main thing was that Keanu Reeves does not look in any way like John. You know, black hair. And
Black hair, black cream. No, he's not from London or Liverpool.
Mm-hmm. He's just an occultist. And then there was that. He doesn't wear the trench coat. And then I think even some people had issues with the fact that he used primarily stuff from Christian mythology.
Yeah, it's really heavy-handed with Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not a magician. He's barely even a con man. It's Vada. He's basically an exorcist who doesn't work for the church, but still.
Right. And the novelization tried really kind of elaborating on that a little bit, that because at least this version was a bit more versed in Christian things than other cultures. But I guess in the novelization, he does use other cultures' magic or spells or artifacts and whatnot. So I just think it was the time. And then Leo, is like you said before, I think just the critics just obliterated it.
Yeah.
And people didn't love Keanu back then like they love him now.
Right. If this had been released,
like if this was like, yeah, if this was if they did this post John Wick,
you know,
right through the roof.
Oh yeah, but honestly, I remember when I saw this first, I thought it was great because again, at that time, I didn't really know a lot about John Constantine. So you know, you just see this guy, you know, flipping off demons and mirrors. Pulling off all kind, you know, sending swarms of scavengers to hell with essentially what I found was lighting a cloth, which was tatters of Moses's robe from the Old Testament. Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, that's fucking cool. You know, and all this stuff. And he's got the one-liners, and he's got certain things that are very John, that no matter who his friends are, they'll die. And certain things. But I mean, honestly, I understand why it became a cult movie, because I feel like once you kind of overlook some of its flaws, you realize it is really entertaining, and it does stick to certain things that are very, in my mind, Hellblazer-ish. Like, Kevin, what do you think?
I mean, it is a Hellblazer story. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, I mean, it is Dangerous Habits. I mean, Gabriel's a snob. I mean, he deals with a lot of the same issues of lung cancer, which I think that was mostly an excuse. Oh, sorry, kitten. I think they gave him lung cancer so they could have him smoke, which is probably their way around it. Like consequences. I mean, it's a Hellblazer story, so you can't really just complete crap on it just because they cast the person who's nuts, the least John Constantine to play John Constantine.
Right.
And he doesn't really look like he just like rolled out of a gutter. So he was a little pretty. But it was a Hellblazer story.
Right.
Had your characters pop a midnight and had some great props and great things they built upon into the mythology of Constantine. So I mean, come on. The Ace of Winchesters.
Right. Yeah. Young Chaz.
The Holy Brass Knuckles.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
You know, the lighter, which I mean,
Dragon's Breath.
You know,
I thought you couldn't get it anymore. Well, I know going. How's it going?
And the best part, it killed off Shia LaBeouf.
I mean, of course.
we
Poor Shiva who's coming off of Even Steven or whatever.
Yeah, the Holes era Shia, where it's like, I still like you. Now, God, we were trying to save the world. But Michael Bay would have just put someone else in Transformers, so we were doomed either way. But I will also say that I did learn some things because I was doing some research behind the scenes. I did learn of some deleted scenes that I'm kind of sad didn't make it in the film, that there apparently was a storyline where John had relations with a half-human, who I believe I think we heard the actress' name was Michelle Madsen, and she was supposed to be a big part, and she actually shows up in a scene in the movie. Which, again, if you didn't ever watch the deleted scenes, and you can watch them all online, everybody, we looked up Constantine deleted scenes. She shows up in one scene in the movie when John is raining down the holy water on all the half breeds in the hotel room. She's the one who's like holy water and then spazzes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's her. So apparently there were scenes where she's like seen in bed talking to John, and I think it's similar to when he was talking to Ellie in the comic, where he's like, is there maybe something you can do? Which is like, I don't fuck with the boss, And speaking of Rich, I know you totally gave proper credit to Tilda Swanson, whose Gabriel performance was fantastic. I also want to give proper credit to Peter Stormare. I know he always plays amazing, but his version of Lucifer was just fucking delightful.
Just disgusting and a bastardization of everything.
Yeah. So
and if you guys have not seen this movie yet, for the people out there, I know we all have. Peter Stormare is in the American Gods TV show. He played Chernobog, which he also put a brilliant performance.
Yes.
And he's played. He was in John Wick 2 as one of the gangsters. So he's worked with Keanu before, and man, I think they play well off each other. And Swinton and Peter Stormare, like you said at the end there, oh my God, it just sends chills down your spine. It was brilliantly done.
Gabriel, Tilda Swanson was so perfect as Gabriel because the way that they made her was perfectly, in my mind, androgynous. Like she could be both masculine and feminine at the same time, and just had this just very.
She got a David Bowie thing going for her.
Yeah, that's a perfect.
I think I'm watching. I'm like, she's being David Bowie. I'm here for it. Go for it.
And now again, having read Dangerous Habits, like the scene with the snob, aka Gabriel, was just wonderfully adapted in its own context. And I also got to say, one of my favorite moments was when John fights the demon that's made of all the bugs.
Oh yeah.
And he uses the scarab beetle, which and that, like, the demon fights were some of my favorite. That, or when he gets the scavengers away and he's just, demons stay in hell. Yeah, tell them that. The very much John Constantine. Yep, I know I'm not fucking crazy. And I will give credit, Rachel Weisz did a really good job, but I will say when I first watched the movie, the twins thing did throw me off because it's like you are, but you aren't. Like, am I losing my mind here? And then it's biological twins, psychics, and I'm just like,
sure.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, fine. But I was kind of glad that there wasn't really any real romance because I feel like that would have been very cliche.
But at the same time, Constantine in the comic books would have absolutely had sex with her.
Oh, 100%.
And she would have regretted the hell out of it. You would have.
100%. Also, I also feel like we should discuss their interpretation of hell.
Yeah.
It was very unique.
Just like it's like the upside down, basically. The upside down before the upside down was the thing.
From Stranger Things, right? That's what you're referring to?
Yeah.
So
just I took it like a nuclear, attack happened.
That's kind of how I think when I saw it years ago, that's what I thought it was too. But yeah,
No, the director Francis Lawrence, who would later on make a little bit more of a career for himself after doing this. He directed, I think, 1 or 2 of the Hunger Games films. He definitely said that that's what they were aiming for, kind of like an irradiated wasteland of the world. So, that's why you got the dust and everything is on. It basically, it made sense that a world on fire would look that way.
Right.
So,
but we're talking, 17 years ago, I mean, the special effects really held up well.
Yeah.
They totally did. And it's really amazing.
I watched it, nothing. It's like, oh, that's so CGI.
Like
you watch movies like 2 years ago, and you're like, you can see the CGI. That's like, no, it's clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when you're watching Matrix Reloaded and you're seeing the scenes with the Smiths, and you're like, it's like, listen, this was cool at the time, but I'm seeing the cracks here, my dude. Like, a human face does not look like that.
Shark still looks fake.
You know what? You got to stop. You got to let it go, Leo. you got to let it go, man. But again, I just want to say I really don't know why it got such hell, pun intended, at the time. I really still enjoy it, and I have no problem rewatching it every once in a while because it's just fun. It's a dumb, entertaining supernatural film. It's not. I mean, yes, does it have flaws? Yes, some of the dialogue is just bad.
I think when I picked it up, when I finally picked up a copy a couple years ago, I watched. I was like, "This isn't a bad movie. It's just not necessarily Constantine." Because that's it. Like, so from a comic book fan, like, well, why'd you cast that dude? Like, come on.
Yeah,
you couldn't find one British blonde guy who's like a name enough to do the job,
right? So, Leo, what did you? I don't think I know. Rich, you chimed in some, but Leo, what did you think about it?
Oh, I absolutely love Constantine, and I have since I saw it at the theater when it came out, and just it's I'm a Keanu Reeves fan, and just he can't do no wrong. Well, except Matrix.
I will say this though, and I need to give one more person. I don't know his name, but the actor who played Balthazar was fantastically sleazy.
Gavin Rosdale of the band Bush.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was Gavin.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was perfect. The coin,
just a beautiful asshole.
Yeah, just a smarmy fuck. Especially, I loved when he basically tricked him into revealing the plan by the fake absolution.
Yeah,
you got to want to be absolved, asshole. And I was just like, I can't. Like, God damn it! Like again, John. He's like, John, we're running out of time. Can you not insult the demon? Like, can we wrap this up? But that fantastic. But before we get to City of Demons, I do have to ask because it is totally my nature, which Kevin will know because I've had conversations like this. And Rich, I'm sure you've seen this, and Leo, well, you know my tangents. So, Kevin, you've been doing Constantine for a long time. Do you have any fun stories? We want to talk about the trench coats.
I gotta watch it.
So, yeah. So that definitely we need to talk about. But let's go back to the trench coats. Oh, look, it's me. God no. And there's me again.
And Lady Z.
My wife,
Let's start here, Kevin.
Okay,
Kevin, can you explain why you have so many trench coats?
I mean, that is, and there's actually technically one preceding all those ones because I was trying to find the right trench coat for the right look. So the first one I got wasn't happy. So then a lot of trips to the Goodwill. So most of them are Goodwill trench coats. So the first one I had I didn't like, so I got another one. That's the one probably the one all the way to the left is the one I wear the most. It's the one I have right here.
Is that Kevin? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that more of the Vertigo one?
Yeah, definitely much more the Vertigo one. Then after the Matt Ryan NBC Constantine came out, I wanted to try to find a coat like that one. And so the closest I found was on eBay from as a costume one. It's literally a costume trench coat. So it's super lightweight. has a good look for the Matt Ryan style, but it's a costume one. And then one of my friends that when I went to Dragon Con, so the first time I really went to Dragon Con, well, the only time I really went to Dragon Con was like right after they had filmed Constantine. And if you didn't know, the TV show Constantine was actually filmed around Atlanta. So a lot of people who obviously in the geek community worked on the show. So one of my friends, his wife actually was the costume designer on the show.
Cool.
And through him, I found out that his coat is a Burberry, and also heard the delightful story of, because of the Burberry lining is trademarked or whatever you want to call it, whatever the legal term is, they couldn't use it. They didn't have the rights to, so they had to remove the lining from the coat because, Burberry will get pissed off, and those coats are not cheap, so it like broke her soul. So after that, I was like, oh, I got to get myself a Burberry coat. Like, the God's Burberry coats, even used ones on eBay, are not cheap. So got that one, and then I picked up a coat for a complete unrelated cosplay off of Wish, and I liked the style of it, so I got another one in tan. So that's pretty much. And then one more trip to the Goodwill resulted in like a matching coat for this one, except it has a nice lining that I could zip in and out. So like, those nice December outdoor shoots, so I don't freeze my tuchus off. So, and I'm still technically, unfortunately, on the hunt for a screen accurate Matt Ryan trench coat, but I'm not dropping like $500 or whatever for.
And it's a coat, absolutely not.
Yeah. So you got different ones. So you got the costume coat and the lighter coats for like the hot New York summers, and then you got the ones with lining, and then just got my general coat that has plenty of big room for pockets. So many things I whip out those pockets at moment's notice, and just looks good. Just looks disheveled, and the type of thing that's the goal right there. The Matt Ryan coat. But it's nice to have a coat that makes me look like I woke up in the gutter and I haven't slept in 3 days, and there's demons on my ass. So it's always good to have a. At this point, if I get blood on it, beer, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, John Constantine. So
more authentic.
I do have to ask Kevin, because I've seen it, but our viewers is the first time they're meeting you. So have you done other versions of John?
I've done I technically did the DC Bombshells version of John. Well, a variation of it, because if you read the DC Bombshell series, he kind of appears infiltrating the SS, and I'm not doing that. So that is not a good look for me. So I have a World War II era very heavy wool trench coat that I wear. I do have a black trench coat to do the latest run of Justice League Dark, where all the magic is being taken out.
Right.
But mostly I do the Hellblazer series, Constantine. And yes, there is a bunny suit Constantine out there.
There is. It's adorable.
There is. Or just the bunny ears.
Now, Kevin, since we know that you don't love the Keanu version of Constantine, what did you think of the Matt Ryan version of Constantine?
Oh, of course I love it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no. I should also mention I have a mucous membrane version of Constantine too. So that exists.
Indeed.
But yeah, no, the Matt Ryan is great. He's Welsh, which isn't quite British, but close enough for all of us Americans to not be able to tell the difference. He's not blonde, but his dye job does a job. And yeah, he pulls off the swagger and arrogance just right, and it looks like a man who smokes 30 cigarettes a day since he was 15.
Indeed.
And he will probably have sex with anything, man, woman, or demon.
100%.
Or city.
Yeah.
Or city.
Yeah.
Dear God.
Sometimes you got to bang a city.
So, but Before we get into that, there's one more thing. So, Leo, if you can roll the group shot, I think our viewers definitely need to know about that. We need not that one. That no, that's
Liv Pearlman.
So Kevin, I definitely think we have to tell that story because it was pretty amazing. So I'll let you start, and then I'll just chip in later.
I mean, obviously, this was at Wizard World, Philadelphia. We knew Matt Ryan was there. That was probably the main reason we were both there, as well as I think that was the main reason you and I went. Jacqueline, my wife, I think she was there partially because some other reunion was there. But yeah, I mean, she was there with me. I mean, I drove, so let's be honest. But yeah, this was like my chance to see Matt Ryan. I was like, screw it, I'll make the trip out. I'll make it happen somehow. And so the photo deals at Wizard World were 2 people getting the shot, just 2. That's what you're paying for. And he kind of my tiny little wife with her attributes caught Matt Ryan's eyes, and she kind of snuck herself into that photo shoot.
To quote a famous lyric, you gotta believe it was magic. Yep, just made a Xanadu reference. I'll see myself out. But the only thing I will chime in is that when Matt saw all of us, his face lit up. He knew exactly. He smiled.
He's never seen a Chaz cosplay. Come on.
Yeah, he was super pumped. I mean, Kevin and Jacqueline, of course, but seeing a Chaz holding the briefcase, and the one that I did, I'm literally dressed as it right now, was the one from the TV show. Because to my knowledge, Kevin, we haven't seen Chaz show up in the CW yet.
No, I think they kind of distanced them. Yeah, they're reference. I mean, I haven't watched this current. I didn't watch the last season, so the last season that Matt did, so I don't know, but I probably doubt it.
Yeah, but he was so chill. I mean, you know how photo ops are, everybody. They're very brief, but he was very chill. He shook our hands. He gave Jacqueline a hug. Kevin got his spell book because he has a John Constantine spell book. Yep.
Yeah,
right
man,
there, kids. He got that signed, and he made sure Matt wouldn't tell him what page it was, so he would just randomly find it. So, Kevin, if you will.
Oops. Sorry.
Leo, this is where you zoom in. Yep. Look at that, kids.
What's the spell next to it?
Probably the summon. Let's see. It's a pentacle of Jupiter for a talisman for acquiring treasure for gaining business. Kind of appropriate for John Constantine. There's a lot of spells in here. Yeah. Very appropriate. You need to know how to, on a moment's notice, how to get rid of a demon and summon the right demon.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's also funny because while we were there, we did like a mini John Constantine photo shoot. And some of those photos are really priceless because it was us and then our friend Seth, who is mucous membrane John. Yeah. Who definitely got into character. Oh, very much so. Yes, we're not going to get into that story because that's for the after dark special. Yeah. But some of those photos are extremely priceless, including one which, Leo, if you wouldn't mind. Photos. I call this the third wheel.
That's the third wheel.
Because, dear God.
I mean, but Chaz can't hold in the bag while Constantine does what he does.
True story. And we have that photo, and then I didn't include it here. Oh yeah, there's this. So I will say this: I used to do John Constantine. So
nice French coach got there, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I still have it. I got mistaken as Castiel all the time, despite the fact that it is a red tie, not a blue. Had the attitude and whatnot. Some people said I was so convincing they thought I didn't like them, and I'm like, no, I'm just in character. But I also had a magician trick Bible, so it was a thing where with lighter fluid in it, and you click a flint, and it looked like the book was on fire. So that was my little gimmick. And then I met Kevin, and then I realized there's no way that I could do John better than him. So I've respectfully retired it. Although at one point we were always talking about doing a shoot, which I would have been old man John, playing on the fact that I just love apparently doing geriatric cosplay versions of characters. So no, but it was great. And I just want to say, concluding our point before we get to the movie, we saw Matt Ryan 3 times that day. The second time was at a panel where he was talking about the show, which was great. Kevin did have his hand raised, and I still don't know how they didn't see him, because he's the only John Constantine sitting in the thing. Like, how did you not see that?
I have the worst luck at his panels. Every single panel I've been to, Matt Ryan, I've yet to be called on. I've tried.
He's tried. I mean, he's gonna have to literally light himself on fire to get a question in. But one time we were just walking through, we saw Matt, and actually no, we saw him 4 times. The third time was when you got your book signed. But the 4th time I always remember is that Kevin called out to him, and he looked and he saw us again, and he immediately smiled like, "That's right, mate. You cool." And I was just like, "I'm good. Like, I'm good. I don't need it. I don't need any cheesesteak. I don't need a beer. I already know it's in Philadelphia. It's John Constantine. We're good." Like, so I don't know. Rich, I think you kind of knew Kevin before I really did. Did you have any Constantine stories with him, or?
No, I mean, I initially met Kevin. He was a Green Arrow cosplayer.
True. Had more to this.
He even had the the arrow with the punching bag on it.
The boxing gloves
that got signed by multiple people. There it is. See?
Boom.
There
Check
it is,
that out,
right
kids.
there.
That's signed by all the great Green Arrow writers and artists. Look at that.
Yep. Danny O'Neill, Neil Adams. I always butcher his name, but Jose Lupe.
Jose
Garcia.
Garcia's Lopez. Yeah.
Lopez. Okay, yeah. I always butchered. Matt, Stephen Amell, and I think I got Phil Hester. So still want to get Kevin Smith to sign it. He's still on my list. And Mike Grell. Mike Grell had him sign it.
Nice.
So yeah, I got.
Yeah.
Speaking of characters,
classic GA.
We did a photo shoot, everybody, where I was Kevin Smith's character, Onomatopoeia, who only speaks in sound effects. And Kevin, and that was our spoof of the at that time. They had made a big controversy over a Killing Joke Batgirl Joker cover.
Oh, that's right. That's why.
And we did that because at that time people were being respectful of the point, but still realizing that it's just the cover. And this bringing up the whole controversy to the point where the cover I didn't even get released was a little much. So I kept doing that with cosplayers. We did Killing Joke covers. I did that with that. And there was another one where I had a guy, you guys know him, Rich, Kevin. I had James Hannon do that with a Flash cosplayer. So he had his Captain Cold Gun.
Nice.
Doing because I just couldn't help making the parody because I was like, wow, I was like, okay, I see the points, but I still think it's a little much, but whatever.
So Drew, what you're saying is you were really just channeling John Constantine and giving everyone the finger. There you go.
Listen,
there we go. Lots of fingers all around.
Some of my favorite characters. Trust me, if I had to say, Dangerous Habits gets 4 middle fingers.
Nice.
So,
just real quick, you mentioned Chaz in Legends of Tomorrow. I did a little quick search, and he has not appeared, but his name is on a will in the episode Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense.
That does make sense. But So I guess we'll get to the last part of it. I'm really surprised. I thought we had more people commenting in, but it was only in the beginning. So I guess that one guy, Kevin, didn't respond fast enough. So sorry, sir. But yeah, so
no idea what he said.
yeah, so City of Demons. I'd only watched like a segment of it before. What a great animated movie.
Yeah.
I just want to say that. So,
and really,
Yeah, originally marketed on
encapsulates-
this.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was saying originally marketed on the CWC to help promote their streaming website thingy,
mhm.
and then they released, and then they never finished releasing on that, so they put the whole movie out.
Right.
It was supposed to be the bridge between like CW acquiring NBC's Constantine, and that was the way they're promoting him for the Legends Tomorrow and Arrow, which great appearances on Arrow with the peacock feather.
Yeah.
And then, no, great little movie. Definitely, I guess it's turned into the way they introduce Constantine into, what do they call the DC animated universe before they rebooted it yet again?
DCAU, yeah.
Yeah, that was like their way of introducing him there.
So Rich, what were you saying?
Well, I just thought that the City of Demons in whole was really great in giving some of John's history, over many different things we hear about Astra.
Yeah.
A lot of things don't really lay it out. And not only do we get the history of Astra and young Constantine, who was still inexperienced,
Right.
but then it ends up coming full circle. And I don't want to ruin it for everyone.
His great mistake.
Yeah, but greatly done and greatly encapsulated and encircled again and again and again in this story. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the the way that they re-explain the Newcastle incident, which is famous in Constantine lore, was fantastic. I also just think that, again, this story written by J.M. DeMatteis, who is just, at this point in my mind, he's great. He can really do no wrong. He really got down that if John is unable to take on a threat, he will easily manipulate somebody to do it for him. And that is basically essentially the thing. John is a bargainer. Okay. He will make deals, and he is just so good at it because he knows how to tell you exactly what you want to hear to go along with it. And then before you realizing it, you're not serving your agenda, you're serving his agenda. And before you realize that, it's too late. He's already cast the binding spell and you're fucked. So, I mean, again, Matt Ryan in my mind, can do no wrong. He's in my head, he's the de facto John Constantine voice. I hear he's got the tone, he's got the world knowledge. So you're hearing spells and definitely in other languages. It's great. And it was, again, it's him and Chaz. You got to love that this is the one friend of John's that for some reason has remained alive the entire time.
Yeah.
And that is always.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just going to say that was one of my favorite comic book moments, is that John was fighting with a demon, and a demon just randomly killed a person at a bar. And the demon asked, "Did you know him?" And he said, "I must have. He's dead." And it was just like, God damn, but it's so true. No, but it was fantastic. Also fantastic for a small cast. Like the movie itself was, you're used to DC cast being very big, at least a dozen people. That one was barely under 10, but it was fantastic.
And Notable has 2 Constantine voice actors, because Chaz is voiced by, I believe, the same man who voice acts Constantine in Justice League Action.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
now, had that whole band backstory, has that been in Constantine lore, or did they just add that in?
Yeah, but I think the only difference in the original comic book, Chaz was more their bouncer than a band member.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the band, which as we said is was called Mucous Membrane. That was what it was called in the comics. It's been referred to in the NBC Constantine. I don't know if they've ever really brought it up in the CW, but that's all still apparently canon. So yeah, it was a punk band, and they weren't really very good, but
very Sex Pistols inspired.
Yeah, exactly.
Like blatantly Sex Pistols inspired.
100%. And yeah, that again, it's just the young, arrogant John Constantine thought he could handle more than he could chew, and it broke him. And like you said, Rich, everything just came back full circle in ways that even John, Chaz, or everybody else couldn't expect. And in the end, and again, it's like Rich said, we're not going to spoil it, but in the end, we find that magic, even fused for good, will always come with a pretty big price tag. And I will also say this, that I did not expect that ending, but goddamn,
I forgot about it. I forgot about that ending.
Yeah, that hit me. I mean, I didn't cry, but I was just like, oh man, what a feeler. Whew.
Yeah, but the DC animated universe, it's that putting these out, Justice League Dark, Justice League Dark Side War, I think it was called.
Yes,
they're just doing a brilliant job with these characters.
Well,
really
DC animated in general has just been knocking it out of the park.
Usually.
Yeah, except the last piece of crap that came out.
We'll give them 80%.
Oh, it's like that. The post that Justice League Dark Side War.
Yeah, there's one that just came out. That's just
the reboot. Was that the Superman one?
Yeah, the
Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
where it's really thick lines. The artwork is just horrendous.
Yeah, that's the one with where Zachary Quinto is like Lex or something, and the bad guy is Lobo, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, I saw that. It was on HBO Max. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, don't.
Injustice.
No.
Oh, Injustice? Yeah. Really? You didn't like it?
I haven't watched that yet either. I have it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay. I heard good things.
I teared up on that one.
The artwork just kept on taking me out of it. It's just
well, of course you would, Rich. Like your favorite dies. It's the reason that we have Injustice.
You know what? I think it was when Nightwing died. I think when Nightwing died.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. When that happened in the comic, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, but I will say this though. I definitely agree that Justice League Dark was pretty great in my mind. I only watched it once. I thought it did pretty well. Dark Side War surprised me at how well that was, because that was a dark film.
Yeah, that was not a happy movie. There was no happy ending in that movie.
No, there wasn't. But yet again,
Constantine again paying prices.
Yeah, and John pulled through in the end. I was like, wow.
The ultimate survivor.
Indeed. And
he's like a cockroach.
But was that the one where that's like the end of the DCAU and they like did a reboot after it?
Yeah. Because it ended with Constantine going to Flash. You know what you have to do now.
Yeah, Superman has kryptonite tattooed on his chest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was a lot. And then even my favorite was that Etrigan doesn't even rhyme anymore. I was like, oh come on. That was that's I'm sorry. I've been rereading some of the Demon just because some of my favorite stuff was Garth and John. I'm sorry, just the fact that Etrigan rhymes, and when it's just the best. And God, he's such an asshole. But it's perfect. It's just perfect. So, but I'm just, in the end, I just want to say this. I'm just glad that comics has allowed a character like John Constantine, because you really do need an everyman in things, because it's sometimes you want to root for someone who doesn't knee deep in superpowers.
If you enjoyed, I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off on that.
No, you're fine. You're doing good.
Don't worry.
No. What do you got, Kevin?
I'll say if you like City of Demons, check out this. It's what they base most of the story on. Most of the story from the general all his engines.
Mhm.
Even has an endorsement by Alan Moore over here.
Oh man.
Oh no,
Alan
sorry, Neil
Moore.
Gaiman. Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman.
So I know it's and such inspiration. They even like reproduced. Oh man, right? Yeah, reproduced the artwork in it was the artwork they had on the all. This actually takes place in the comic book, but in the movie they have it just as a portrait on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I will say this though. I don't know if you guys know this, but Alan Moore actually was so turned off by what happened from what they did with From Hell and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that when it came time for Constantine, he just rejected the royalties and gave them his artistic creators for Constantine. He was like, nope, send him along.
And Drew, one of the beauties of Constantine is that unlike your typical superhero story that almost always ends in them winning eventually and everything being perfect and no real repercussions for them usually, and John always has repercussions. It's a more real, even though it's based in magic, it's a more real story.
Absolutely. There is one thing that I wanted to discuss because it's something that when I found out about it, I could not get stopped on my mind. That John Constantine is one of, and this is something only I've ever heard of him, is that he's one of the few fictional characters, actually I think he's the only one, that writers have claimed to have met in real life. So, yes, everybody, I want to claim that there are people who've written John Constantine stuff that have claimed to have actually met him in real life. And I have the stories here to back that up, if I may, gentlemen.
Totally.
All right. So one of them, the person who's met him apparently the most is one person who I'm not surprised at all was Alan Moore, being that he's one of the co-creators for the character. And in 1993, he apparently told Wizard, and I quote, "One day I was in Westminster in London. This was after we had introduced the character, and I was sitting in a sandwich bar. All of a sudden, up the stairs came John Constantine. He was wearing the trench coat, a short cut. He didn't even look exactly like Sting. He looked exactly like John Constantine. He looked at me, stared me straight in the eyes, smiled, nodded almost conspiratorially, and then walked off the corner to the other part of the snack bar. I sat there and thought, should I go around that corner and see if he's really there, or if I just eat my sandwich and leave? I opted for the latter. I thought it was the safest. I'm not making any claims to anything. I'm just saying it happened. Strange little story." He had a second meeting, which was illustrated in 2001 Snakes and Ladders, which was an adaptation of by Eddie Campbell of one of Moore's performance art pieces. That, and I quote, "Years later in another place, he steps out of the dark and speaks to me. He whispers, 'I'll tell you the ultimate secret of magic. Any cunt could do it.'" And there was one more time, but it was a fictional meeting. So this was during Paul Jenkins' run of Hellblazer, which is around number 120. We see Alan Moore sitting in silhouette in the back of a bar as John, who is on a pub crawl with us, raises a drink to him. And yes, everybody, you would not be able to miss Alan Moore because his beard.
He looks like a wizard.
Yeah, he looks like a wizard. He basically looks like a really out of work Rasputin cosplayer. I think I've more than once made the joke that I still think that Alan Moore's magic is so strong that his beard has probably eaten a fan who has annoyed him once or twice. But back to this. Hellblazer writer Jamie Delano claimed to have encountered John during his run outside the British Museum. Artist Peter Milligan said that he saw John at a party in 2009 and rushed after him only to find he disappeared. And the last one was writer Brian Azzarello. Once saw him in a Chicago bar but avoided him, saying that, quote unquote, "The thing about John is the last thing you'd want to be is his friend." So
Yeah,
But you all want to be my friends, right, guys?
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, we could be invited to weddings in cemeteries.
Yeah. Well, someone here has.
But so how trippy is that? When I read that, I was like, wow, that's fucking cool.
So is this more proof that we're in a simulation?
I think this is one of those where less we know, the better.
Okay.
But
So
that kind of brings me to one of my cosplay stories.
go for it.
When I was one of the years I was doing New York City Comic Con, and about that time of year I also usually get a cold, so like I had zero voice, so it was completely scraggly, and I was doing my British accent, so I was like, of course, love, and like, so I was being interviewed by some website or whatever, and I just had that voice that sounded like I definitively had a smoking habit.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes around like asking people's real names, but after she gets to me, she's like, I don't want to know who you really are. Like, I'm accepting that you're John Constantine. That this bloke with the scratchy voice and the British accent is the real John, the real John Constantine. Just flew in. So, but you guys are probably gonna get some flack. So the real question is it Constantine or Constantine? Because that's a big debate right there.
Is it?
I've talked to a few people who worked on Constantine, and that's how they pronounce it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pronounce it Constantine, but I've even gotten in one argument with someone who's like, it's Constantine. The person who created him says it's Constantine. I'm like, but it's a last name.
Is that similar to the debate in Lord of the Rings, where if it's Smog or Schmog? Because I feel like I've heard that too, where it's just, I was like, doesn't matter. It's a dragon. We know who you're talking about.
But yeah, I've talked to like, I think 2 or 3 people who have done Constantine one aspect or another. And they're like, they and every single time they're in Constantine, I'm like, and they even make the joke in the Crisis Infinity Earth when Lucifer meets Constantine, and that's Lucifer calls him Constantine. And John,
oh yeah,
and John corrects him. No, it's Constantine. So even there, the debate has flourished.
Yeah, no idea.
So what is it, guys?
I didn't know it was a debate. I just thought it was Constantine.
Yeah, that's what I've said it. Constantine. The whole when I say that, people know who I'm talking about. It's not like you know.
And that's how Keanu Reeves says it.
Yeah.
And if Keanu says it, it's clearly right.
Must be true.
Right, because if not, we're getting a pencil in our head. So why not, right? Well, so I guess I mean, Kevin, did you have any other stories that you wanted to share? In your time as Johnny Boy, or are you satisfied? Did the drinks run out? Is it time to?
No, I mean I could take another drink, but no, I mean no, I think I may have earned a little reputation at Dragon Con for like sulking around at like 2 a.m, just trench coat and arrogance. A few people, including people on the show where I worked on the show, were giving me the thumbs up, but I may have built a reputation as the mysterious Constantine. And when I reappeared, I scared the everybody crap out of a crackhead for putting out my cigarette on my hands.
Well, I will tell you, Kevin, that every time I watch an animated or read a Constantine book, I instantly picture you as the character.
Fair enough. I'm trying to keep the accent in control today.
I remember one time when I was still doing John that I ran into someone who was she was a female John. So I was like, oh, hi, Joan. So I was like, Joan Constantine. And she was so happy to see me. And in true John, I was like, it's all good. It's like looking into a handsome mirror,
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, are we excited about seeing a female John Constantine in the new Sandman series?
Actually, I'm going to correct you there. It is, but it's his relative, Joanna Constantine. But I'm extremely excited because that's something we've never seen, except if you read Sandman.
Yeah.
So
they reference her. I mean, they like actually going back to what Leo was saying, reading the preceding story that but John Constantine was talking about all the various other Constantines and Constantines he's met. He name drops Joanna.
He totally does. And I will say this: if anyone is a fan, the Joanna Constantine stories, there are a few in Neil Gaiman's legendary Sandman. They are totally worth it. They're literally the stories that prove that John's curse of just being the wrong bastard at the right time is definitely hereditary. So that line was doomed from the beginning. But oh no, absolutely. I think it's me. And I just want to give credit. I own it. I've yet to read it, but I heard Tara Egerton, who did the voice of John in the audiobook for Constantine, which I hear is fantastic, and I'm very excited to hear it. I heard he did a great job. So I'm really excited to hear that, because I do love that that actor. Loved him in Kingsman, loved him as Elton John and Rocket Man. I love him as the singing gorilla in Sing. That's also him too.
That's also him?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's him too. So I'm very excited to hear him doing John in was essentially the first book of Sandman. So
nice.
So meaning to do that. It's a new year, so we can do that. But so I guess, Rich, as you would say it, four crowbars, but I think in this case, how many middle fingers do you want to give up?
For which thing? For City of Demons?
So
I can do all three. I got no problem.
Yeah. So let's do how many middle fingers for Dangerous Habits?
4 middle fingers. 4.5 middle fingers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 4.5. That's by far the quintessentially perfect Constantine arc. What about you, Leo?
I'm gonna go with 4. I would give it 4.5, but the art was a little off at times for me. But the story was just fabulous.
Oh yeah, Kevin. What about you?
Oh yeah, obviously like 4.5. Same. The art is, in my mind, Steve Dillon is still like the great Constantine artists to compare it against. So yeah, the art, but the story, that Garth really established who Constantine is and whoever shall ever be.
100%. So for the 2005 Constantine, or Constantine, as they would say it, what do you rate it? I'm giving that a solid 4.5 because it's flaws and all, it's still a pretty great movie in my mind. So 4.5 middle fingers.
All right, I'm going to go with the 4 middle fingers as well. I think I agree. I was leaning toward 3.75, but after hearing what you say, I'm going to go with 4 as well.
Nice. Okay, Leo.
I'm 4.5. Easy.
4.5 for the movie for Leo.
What about you, Kevin?
I'll give it 4. Just 4 of these.
4 of those.
So it really is a Hellblazer story. Well, these be fucking wankers. It is very much a Hellblazer story, despite the weird casting choices aside. It's very constant. It's very Hellblazer.
Yes. And
I don't think we could get a better we can, but it's pretty solid.
And I will just add this just before we get to reviewing City of Demons, and then we'll wrap up. They've been talking more, especially since we're in a Keanu Reeves
Jesus Christ
revolution. Demon Cat.
Oh no, still here.
Equipment down.
So basically, they've been
bloody
talking
hell.
about,
My familiars are getting out of control again.
So they've been talking about doing a Constantine 2, and Keanu has said that he'd love a chance to do it again. If they were to release a second Constantine and Keanu is it, would you see it? I would.
Oh yeah.
Reluctantly, yes.
Well,
I mean, they'll probably be good, but still, it's like we've had so many years now of establishing what Constantine looks like and sounds like and is, and it's so far. We're talking about what 17 years that we've had of people going, no. This is what Constantine looks like. There's action figures of him now. Come on, there's Funko Pops of them.
Yeah,
it's true.
Well, I mean, they may change his look a little bit. You know, it's
Will they bleach his hair blonde?
I mean, obviously, it'd be great to have Matt Ryan, but we know DC, they want to keep the TV and the movies totally separate.
Yeah, they would. So, with that in mind, so City of Demons, sorry, 4.5 middle fingers. That's just a great animated movie. Like, it flies by. The characters are great. The action is great. And any fan of any sort of supernatural violence, mythology, mayhem, you're gonna love it. So,
yeah, and I'm gonna go. That was my favorite of the three. I'm gonna go with 4.75 on that bad boy.
Nice.
So
Leo?
take
I'm gonna do a solid 4.
Okay, that's good.
I'll go 4.5. JM, love that guy. His wife loves me. It's all good. He did a solid adaptation of the source material as well as integrating things like Justice League Dark and taking a existing Hellblazer story and putting it into the DC animated universe. And so it connects everything so well, like better than a lot of other things could actually do. He adapts so many different things between live action and comic books and the new 52. Yeah, it's great. And plus the twists and turns, man.
Yeah. So before we do the essentially our end credits, Kevin, I have one more question for you about your Constantine. What is your favorite thing to either say or favorite Constantine quote to do in your voice? And can you do it for us now?
I mean, I call people Lanka and Contalot. I don't really have a bloody hell again. I don't really have. I'm the worst.
It's okay, John.
Sorry, was it? I didn't like the way it was looking at me. I don't really have any quotes I really said. It's really cool. I just kind of bugger all and piss off, you bloody wanker. A lot of piss offs. And yeah.
Oh, wait. Before we go, I want to remember one thing. Kevin, you were there for this. I once did a photo shoot where I appeared as John trying to light my cigarette on Firestorm's head. So,
haven't we all?
Yes. So just and it's funny because that's somebody me and Kevin know. So the fact that he let me do that is actually pretty funny because he has a very limited sense of humor. So only John Constantine would treat one of the most powerful metahumans in DC like a human lighter.
Of course.
All right. So I just want to say this, Kevin, thank you so much for coming.
Cheers.
Absolutely fantastic. Do you, I guess, how can people find you? So
you can find me on Instagram and TikToks at BoosterGoldNY. You can find me on Facebook at Stars and Sins Cosplay, which I never freaking update, but whatever. But yeah, mostly Instagram is where you find a lot of my nonsense and bullshit, a lot of my bollocks.
And if you missed
nonsense.
If you missed that, definitely check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. I got all your links in the show notes there, so you can just hit on there and click. And for me, just Google Leopan. You find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not, but more importantly, follow these awesome people. Drew, where do you like people interacting with you?
Oh, I don't. But when you decide that you want to, I'm on Facebook, Drew Mollo. I'm Instagram, Ghostbusterman1984. I do a lot of writing for Screen Rant. I do stuff here. I'm on the Sal Buscema Spider-Man podcast with Dr. Chris. I'm here with Splash Pages. I'm working on all the things. I'm generally busy. So it's a new year. So I'll do my best to get back to you if you message me. Otherwise, Chaz out.
Velvet Joker.
Here I be. You can catch me on the gram, Velvet Joker 2021, Rich Davis on Facebook, or Ghostbuster Man 1984.
Shut up.
The other places I like to be contacted.
Shut up.
Oh yeah.
We
all like to be up in there.
Did you say Ghostbuster Man 1984?
He totally did.
He
fucked with me.
You can totally reach me there. Me, Velvet Joker.
I hate you so much.
You'll always be CT Joker in my heart.
Thank you. I'm started to evolve, my friend, but you know, you can still call me whatever you want, just not late for dinner.
Well, I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening, and now with that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Peace out.
It's just
Nice to see you, Kev.
See you.